What if we replaced isekai with swag? Welcome back to MALadjusted.
I was really hoping you were going to use the Kanye line you dropped earlier.
I don't know if that's safe currently.
Yeah, he's not good for the brand.
Yeah,
That's
you
fair.
know,
They'll just have to wonder what the Kanye line was.
if it's not good enough for Adidas, I don't know if it's good enough for us, you know?
True.
Yeah, we're on the same level.
Yeah, basically. But happy Halloween, everybody. We're at the end of the month. And I mean, I'm scared because
ghosts around in my home.
you might have to move.
Yeah, I was thinking about that lately.
Yeah, too many ghosts. But I'm scared because yesterday I realized, because I was gone for a week in Oregon, and I come back and I'm like, oh no, I gotta catch up on some anime. I gotta watch some anime. And because I have a warrior's resolve, I decided that I was going to catch up entirely before us recording here. So I did download 14 episodes of anime yesterday
Jesus
and watch
Christ.
all of them.
That's a handful of anime.
Yeah, that's a day well spent. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. But here we are. The season is well underway. We kind of last left at the very beginning of this season, and now we're really in the meat of it. So
Yeah.
I think we should just I'll list off everything I'm watching, and if anybody else is watching, go ahead and say you're also watching it. So first on my list I have Spy Family Part 2.
Yep, watching that.
Not watching it.
Okay. My Master Has No Tail.
I'm watching that shit.
Probably watching. I've seen episode 1.
Okay.
Probably will pick it up.
Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury.
Everybody's watching that shit.
Yeah, that shit
slaps.
You better believe it. Also, probably everyone's on board here. Mob Psycho 100 Season 3.
Sir.
Of course.
That's right.
Chainsaw Man.
Of fucking course. Everyone's like double watching that show this season.
Yeah. Do It Yourself. Any Do It Yourselfers?
Yes, I love
I watched
that
the first
show.
episode.
We'll talk about it.
Look, we'll get to it.
Akiba Maid War.
I have lots to say and I'll save it.
Oh yeah.
Bocchi the Rock.
Similar. Also watching that one.
And Urusei Yatsura.
I don't know yet. We can talk about it when we get there. I have seen episode 1.
Okay.
It'll happen.
Anybody else? Chris, you're probably watching even more
because
you're
let me
insane.
go through. Let me go through and read the rest of what I'm watching. I'm also watching Blue Lock, the second season of Himetsu no Anada A, the third season of Iruma, is the Pop Team Epic season 2, and that is it. I think I'm scrolling. Yes, I believe those are the additions to my large list. There's a couple that I tried to watch and immediately dropped, and I will talk about those later also.
Oh. Wade, anything unique to you?
No, I think you're watching just everything I'm watching, but also more.
Oh, okay. So it's a stacked season, I gotta say.
A little bit. I'm not what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not underwhelmed.
You're not hungering for more anime.
I'm not disappointed.
Yeah.
I'll just put it this way. When I finally got around to watching a couple of the shows that I did end up dropping, it was actually kind of a relief because every single other show I had watched so far that season had been either like really good or incredible. And that's fucked up. Like I expected some of these new shows to miss along with all the big hyped shows, and then most of them didn't.
Yeah, there's really only one show that I'm watching that I think I might like lose steam on, but even then I might stick with it just because I conceptually appreciate it. And I'll go ahead and say which one it is right now.
Yeah, can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
Am I watching it?
Yeah, you're watching it.
Is it My Master Has No Tail?
That is correct. So the reason why, and Wade, you can chime in with your takes on it, is that I do appreciate it conceptually. Uh I like, these sorts of like Japanese mythology infused shows where it leans very heavily on like tropes of their culture, and uh I like yokai, and I like tanuki, and I like kitsune, and all that is like well and good, but ultimately I was kind of hoping that a show about comedy would be a little bit funnier.
Yeah.
The thing with that is that like, and I don't know, I say that, but in Rakugo Shinjo, a lot of the Rakugo stories were actually funny. I've only seen episode 1 of this, but I get what you mean. I didn't find the base story that they told to be like gut busting funny rather. And then they kind of explained the joke at the very end too, which I didn't like
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, they do that in like more.
Every episode.
They keep doing it's like at the end of the episode, in case you didn't get it, they have the character explain what the joke was because you're an idiot, and you clearly don't understand Rakugo. Uh,
Those are at least, I think, skippable segments.
oh yeah,
really,
for sure. I close
so.
the media player every single time when it comes up. It's like I get it. I get what the joke was.
I was here. I saw.
I was
Yeah.
awake when I was watching the show. So other than that, I mean, I still enjoy it because like I think the characters are fun, and I like the character designs, and I like the look of it, and it's funny enough to keep it going. And also I think I do like, getting just a little bit of insight on like, what Rakugo is all about, because I haven't watched a Rakugo anime before.
Yeah. That's really my only enjoyment. My thing is just that like I really don't care much about the characters. I think there's some of them that are like fun design, but I think there's just like not a lot going on with them. And so like past any part where it's just like about Rakugo, I'm kind of just like, yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found episode 1 to be very charming. I really liked the aesthetic. I liked
Yeah.
kind of like like we talked about the designs. The Tanuki are very cute. It's very whimsical. It's
Mhm.
fun. I liked them chasing her at the very end, and then the reveal that the other girl is also like a yokai or whatever is I thought was
Yeah.
a cool twist that I didn't see coming.
The master is a kitsune. She's a
Yeah.
magical
So-
fox.
So there's lots of things to like about it, but I don't know. The reason I haven't watched more is because I'm only watching it with one friend, and we have a terrible track record of actually sitting
Yeah.
down and
Yeah.
watching stuff when it's just us two. But I think I have a good chance of watching more. So are you saying that you haven't seen Rakugo Shinju?
I
Or-
haven't. I've
Yeah,
been
I haven't.
meaning to. I've
Yeah.
heard it's good.
If you
Um,
like the Rakugo aspect, I know this seems obvious, but it's the best one about the subject matter. It's
right.
it's goated.
Okay.
It's probably one of the best like historical drama anime there is, like period. It's really good.
That's awesome. But yeah, I think like this show is just kind of in an unfortunate position where it's like an okay show among some shows that are like really hitting hard this season. Just like
Yeah.
randomly. It's a randomly very good season.
Extremely.
And I think it's just like, it's a decent show, which I will attempt to finish unless it gets really boring, in which case I will unfortunately have to drop it. But I will still think that the character designs, especially like the original manga character designs, and like the art they have on like the what are they even
The
called?
bumps.
Yeah, the bumps. Those are very cute. I like those a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's really the only one that I'm like kind of lukewarm on.
All right.
Anything tell us what you dropped, Chris.
I was gonna say I think that's a good segue. Okay, so I watched 2 anime. One of them I think is kind of one of the bigger shows of the season, but I'll get to that second. The one of them I watched was Shinobi no Itoki, I think, which is a show by Studio Troika, which has mostly made shows I like a lot. So that's the reason I checked it out.
Right.
It is I think conceptually a good idea, and the execution is literally about as middle of the road and bland as possible. The base concept is that he the main character, who is one of the most generic looking main character ass guys I've ever seen in my life, is like a normal high school boy, and his
Crazy.
dad died tragically a couple years ago, but he's normal, except for that he has a childhood friend who wears a shinobi mask and follows him home after school every day.
Huh.
It's really funny in the COVID era, because maybe you're just like, oh, maybe she just is like really into wearing masks after COVID. That's the explanation, and not a ninja. She's a ninja, by the way. And so you find out, the show goes on, and it's revealed that he's actually part of a secret ninja family and is the heir to the clan, and that's why she was his
Right.
bodyguard the whole time.
Ninja
and
Clan,
the-
here we stand, etc.
Yeah.
And the way that this is discovered is that a random girl confesses to him after class, and he agrees to go out with her on a date. And then she tries to get him up into their room to fuck him, and then she gets like into her underwear, and then she tries to assassinate him.
Right.
Of course.
classic.
And he's like, "What?" That's kind of his state of being the
Whoa.
entire time. And aside that I think was the most interesting thing that happened in the entire episode. The rest is about as paint by numbers as you can get.
Okay.
It's about shinobi wars. The cool thing about it is that there's like, they're modern shinobi, so they use a lot of what I would say verges on like James Bond-esque spy technology mixed in with like the ninja shit, which I think is cool conceptually, but again, it's so fucking bland, and I hate the main character, so I will not be watching this.
All right.
The other show is The Eminence of Shadow. Have y'all heard about this one? This is the biggest isekai that is airing this season.
Oh, isekai. Okay. I probably
know.
scrolled past it. But go ahead and elucidate me. What's it about?
It is about this guy who wants to be not the hero of the story. He's a chuny. He's like a big chuny guy.
Okay.
Mhm.
And he doesn't want to be the hero. He wants to be that character that comes in and saves the hero's ass and is really strong, but is kind of mysterious. Sort of like that level of NPC.
Oh, so he wants to be like the Skull Knight from Berserk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he basically trains himself in all kinds of like martial arts and combat, and then becomes discount Batman and goes and beats up mobsters and stuff. But even he acknowledges that all of his skills wouldn't matter against like people with guns, people with better weapons, and he feels like limited by that. So that's kind of the setup of the first episode, is him being like bordering on a psychopath and beating up criminals, and then he saves some girl from getting sexually assaulted because it's an isekai, and these shows cannot function without having a scene like that in the early episodes to establish that it's serious.
Yeah, how are you supposed to know that like that
It's got
there's
stakes.
genuine stakes and trouble unless there's like a rape about to happen? Like,
Unless there's like rape or like
Yeah.
slavery or
oh, slavery is a big one. And
Yeah, big one too.
slavery is a bonus because then your protagonist gets a slave.
Right.
Yeah.
I should mention this is all happening in the real world. This is pre him getting isekai'd.
Oh, okay. So he's like a schizo in the real world.
Yeah. He's
Oh, that's
insane.
cool.
And which I think is like the bit. I think this is supposed to be funny. I don't know. It wasn't very funny.
Oh.
Anyway, this all happens, and then he gets hit by a truck at like the 20-minute mark, like just straight up traditional isekai hit by a truck. And then he spawns into a world with like magic and shit, and then he's really excited because he can actually meet his potential or whatever. And it like, I was not having a good time in the first half, but the sequence when he was beating up criminals with crowbars, he like talks about how much he loves crowbars as a tool, which I thought was funny. That was kind of fun.
Most
But the
normal
second,
Half-Life fan.
exactly, that's what I'm saying. But the second he goes to the the isekai world, it shows him surrounded by this group of like 12 big titty women. Some of them are like have animal ears, and that are all clearly like loyal to him. And then immediately all of the even the smallest shred of interest I had evaporated. I was like, no, thank you. I will not
Yep.
engage.
Very
This is a really
nice.
high score on Mal, though. I don't know. I hated it. I thought it was fucking terrible.
It sounds terrible.
Listen,
But
the
it's got a
drones
ton
will,
of people watching it.
The
Yeah,
drones
the
will
drones
watch
will
a
pick
lot.
that shit up. Yeah, they'll touch it.
I just don't like most light novel adaptations because I don't think most
Because
light
they
novel
fucking
authors are
suck.
talented. Yeah. There's just the writing is so bad. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's it. Those are the only shows that I dropped.
Okay.
All right. I think that might be all the gloom for this episode. I think the rest might just
Yeah,
be
the rest is gonna be.
gasolina.
I mean, I can
Yeah.
talk about my mixed feelings about Urusei Yatsura if you want
Oh,
to
can
get all
we-
the
can
negative
we-
out of the
we
way.
can-
Can we
run
please
that.
do that right now? Because I
Yeah.
want to talk about it. Because I have mixed feelings. On the one hand, I think a lot of it is like, I think David Production is doing a really great job. I think it looks great. I think the OP and ED are fantastic. I think that it doesn't look lazy. It looks like they're trying really hard, but the problem is they're trying really hard at adapting a Rumiko Takahashi rom-com from the 80s, and it is paced and structured. It's a faithful adaptation. You know, it's a Rumiko Takahashi rom-com from the 80s, and that comes with all of the downsides of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we feel exactly the same way. This is literally like I'm appreciating what it's doing. I think if you're a fan of the original, you're having a great time because it is like just a really great up to date version of exactly the same thing. So I've only seen episode 1, but I just didn't think it was very funny. I just don't like the genre that it is, I think. I think I'm gonna watch one more episode. I don't think the first episode did a very good job of like showcasing what the show is gonna be like on an episode to episode basis.
I
So-
do think that episodes 2 and 3 are better. So
Okay.
for the record, I think like it is, they are better than the first episode, but they're still like very much exactly what you expect them to be. Which for me, my very first anime that I ever watched was Ranma One Half. So I'm in there. You know, this is exactly what I was first introduced to with anime. Like, and you know, this was, I think, her like big breakout series as a manga artist. And you know, it kind of it has all the hallmarks of her works, where it has all these different archetypes of girls, all these different you know, love conflicts, and these tropes that she has, and it's all like very fun and nostalgic for me. But I don't know how somebody who doesn't have like nostalgia for that would really like, it would like take it in on like just a raw first time viewing of this type of content.
Yeah.
Did you
We'll see
watch
if I
the
pick it
first
up.
episode, Wade?
Nah. I just I can just sort of see it, you know, because it's like at the end of the day, even if it's good, you're still bringing up old shit, and I feel like that's
Yeah.
never gonna fly as well, you know.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think like I definitely think it's like there is absolutely a market for this, and I have no doubts in my mind that this will sell Blu-rays and that people will like it and that people will score it highly, because the people that already like Urusei Yatsura, they're gonna like this one, you know, like, because
True.
it is a kind of like the pure essence of Urusei Yatsura. And if they tried to mix it up or change it to like suit a more modern audience, or like play with the concept and go a different way, as we saw with Osomatsu-san in previous years, we saw them like remix an old favorite into like a new thing. You know, they could have done something different, but I think they weren't interested in that because they were serving a market that exists and that they wanted to serve.
Yeah.
I bet there's some like 50-year-olds in Japan that are having a great time.
Yeah, they're
watching
just
this.
yeah.
freaking out.
Every week they're like, yes!
Oh, it's a lum!
Yeah.
Oh my God. Dude, the BBC dub is still
Yeah.
The
top
BBC dub
tier.
is
I think the
so
BBC
amazing.
should redo the dub for this.
I
new one,
absolutely
and I would,
think
I would
so.
watch that instead.
Yeah, I would do it. Any other thoughts you have on Urusei Yatsura, Chris?
Check back in next time to see if I've dropped it or not.
All right.
I don't
all
know.
right. We can start talking about gas now. Anyone want to
Let's
suggest the first
go.
one?
Kiba Made War.
We can
Oh,
talk
shit.
about Akima Made War. Please give
Does
your
anyone want to stop
thoughts.
us? Yeah, tell me, Wade.
I mean, how do you really like say anything other than just like the initial shock of like that first episode is just almost completely unrivaled in my mind.
It's
Of like
so good.
you know, any experience I've had this season, and honestly probably in a while. Like, and then just the ending like sequence in that first episode with her just like fucking killing all those guys to like
Yeah.
the fucking like J-pop like anime ass song, and then like, you know, a lot of the fills are just her like shooting the guns or like hitting people really hard. Ooh, it was funny.
Yeah. I think every single episode I've watched of the show thus far, I have around like the 15-minute mark been just like leaning back in my chair, like clapping my hands and just like saying this show is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I frequently say, I think multiple times an episode, that this is the greatest anime of all time. And I don't
It's so
necessarily know if I
funny.
mean that, but in the moment, I do mean it.
Yeah.
Like, the boxing episode was Transcend. Have y'all gotten to that one yet?
No, I'm still honestly
That's
a
episode
little
3.
behind.
Yeah, a lot of Ashita no Joe references and a lot of like I feel like this obviously this whole series is like made up of like references and tropes and like just all these different Japanese gangster movie you know, sort of concepts just being thrown into this very silly version of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is so absurd and over the top, but they like handle it extremely well. And I could
Mhm.
see some people maybe getting turned off by that, but I also think those people are like dumb and wrong.
Yeah. I think what's really funny is I have had multiple people where I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm watching Akiba Made War." And they're like, "Yeah, you're a loser. Like stop." And then I'm like, "Wait, hold on. Don't because like even if you read like the description on like
You won't
Chart or
know.
whatever, you don't know. And you don't know until you start watching and then someone gets shot. And
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
first 30 seconds.
Yeah,
And you're like,
it's-
Jesus Christ.
and then you know.
Yeah. And then that's just the show, and you move on from there.
Yeah.
I had an experiment where I cut out. I made Spade watch the first episode of Akiba Made War, and I cut out that first like pre-opening scene in the opening, and just made him watch past that to the end. And when she just fucking like killed the maid and like just shot her straight in the head, he exploded. I'd
Yeah.
never heard it make a sound nearly like that, and he was just like transcendent everything after that. And I think that might, because like I felt that like it was a little spoiled because I knew that some fuck shit was going on with this show, but like just having all of it happen at once, like it still hit me really hard when it happened. But if I didn't see it coming, I think it would have hit even harder. But then again, like I think people probably would have just stopped watching after realizing like, oh, this is just gonna be like, you know, I know everything that's about to happen. So like a little bit of that like hinting and lead up I think was necessary. But
it's such a good hook. I can't
It's
think of a
so
better
funny.
anime hook that I've seen recently, at least, that immediately just floored me.
yeah.
This show is crazy because I genuinely have no fucking idea what is going to happen every single time I boot up an episode. They are all wildly different and they're all fucking bonkers every
Yeah.
single time. This one has been a delight. I'm such a huge fan of this show.
Yeah, I've been so happy with it. Like it's a surprise because like there's some things that I expected to be really good, and you know, yeah, they're holding up. But like this, I'm like, okay, it might be like a little funny, and then I watch it and it's like outrageously funny.
Yeah. Ooh. I love anime.
I'm having a great time this season. Chris, what's the next one?
What's the next one? Let's see. Let's talk about do it yourself. Get like a wildly different change of pace here. So
Ooh, cute girl show.
this is an Ayashike. This is a cute girl show from Pine Jam. This is one of two more slice of life themed shows that I don't know why, but whatever was happening at those respective studios, they were just like, here, y'all get to have full creative control, and you're gonna make this the best looking TV show that's coming out this season. I don't know why, but this and Bocchi the Rock is the other one. The production values are fucking insane. The colors and the character designs and the animation are all just incredible. It's really pretty to look at. And aside from that, it's just a really fun little show with really, really likable characters. It leans very heavily on puns, which, I mean, I guess that's not everyone's thing, but, I think it's a good time. And yeah, it's about the people making things. And so you feel fulfilled with them as they learn how to use power tools.
Yeah.
And the girl sucks. Like the main girl
promoting-
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah,
It's
she's
promoting
terrible.
Honest blue collar value.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Like
Nothing bad about
in
that.
opposition to the white collar tech bros at the other high school. You have to
Mhm.
remember this.
Holding us down. Holding us honest folk down.
Because it's like in the future also, which is kind of a really minor plot detail that just is how the show is that I think is really interesting. It's like set, I think, maybe 10 or 15 years in the future. There's like drones and shit.
Yeah.
Are we all watching this? Is
The
everyone
Bezos
watching this?
takeover.
one?
Yeah, I
I've
think-
only
I
watched
think
the
we're-
first episode, admittedly,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's still on the list, and I'm still gonna watch it.
I think everyone should watch this show. I think it's really good. Like, I am obviously like in love with the production, but it has just been a lot of fun. It's just delightful to watch.
Yeah.
It's a good
doing
time.
what the Ashike should. Yeah.
I really like the little gaijin girl they introduced.
Oh yeah. Big
I'll
fan.
I'll use her nickname Jobuko-chan, because her real name is too long and I forget it. But she has maybe the funniest like English I've seen in an anime in a while, because she will just break into English words in like her sentence in a way that literally no native English speaker would when attempting to speak Japanese.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome.
It is. It's really funny.
But yeah, that's a good show. And
It's just it's like there's a lot of club anime like this, right? It's
Yeah.
just I would say close to the top, close to like the best of the best of this type of like club
Approaching
anime
K-On!
happy. Yeah, real for real. Which is funny because it's not even the K-On! show.
Yeah.
that
It's
is
not the
airing this
K-On!
season.
show this season.
So
You want to do segue?
Yeah, we might as well.
Segway,
Segue.
Bocchi
Woo!
the
Cute girls.
Rock.
We did it. All right, run it.
Bocchi the Rock is so funny.
Yeah, I still only have seen the first episode that you showed me, but it's still like something. It's just like I keep thinking about it. I'm just like, maybe today is when I watch Bocchi.
We can watch Bocchi later.
Y'all should watch Bocchi later. It keeps getting better with each episode.
No, yeah, and it looks good too. Like it's
It is
actually like
gorgeous.
a well animated show. The character designs are great. Each of the girls like look uniquely like very cute and like very good. Like the ending animations, which there's actually like a new ending animation and song in like the latest episode, which I noticed.
Interesting.
But like the ending animations are like so cute and so like fluid, and it's also a very good vibes show, even though it's like about a person having very bad vibes, because our
Yeah.
main character Bocchi has the worst social anxiety of all time. But
And
you know,
I think there's been other anime that try to use like a character that is awkward, and like make it about that. And I don't think any of them have been as funny as this one does. Like the jokes they do, it's very clever. And it like just the way that the bits are constructed, and the way that they use animation to express like her feelings and her character is pretty much unmatched. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Like she has especially like in the past couple episodes, there have been some like shots where it goes like mixed media. Like they have like paper puppets and like they have like,
Yeah.
you know, they change art styles for like a, you know, like her internal monologue, and like it's all just like really high effort. It feels like they care about making this show, and that's awesome. I really hope they keep the quality up.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
watching shows like this when the team is like clearly super invested in it. And there's also clearly a lot of love for the subject material, which always helps for shows like this. These like there's clearly a lot of like very relatable stuff if you've ever tried to do a DIY like very small indie scene band like they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Yeah.
Or
all
even if
for
you've just been like a loser who
yeah.
is trying to figure out the mechanism by which you make friends.
True.
All of the characters, the main cast, and their names are all the first names of the members of Asian Kung Fu Generation. I found that out today.
Yo, that's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, and there's a shot. I can't remember if it was like an eye catch that is one of their album covers that they did. They're clearly the mangaka or is a big fan.
Okay.
So,
That's cool.
but yeah, this is I think one of the best shows this season, and I think everyone should watch it.
Yeah, I've been very surprised by it because I really was like gonna just not watch it because I'm like, oh, it's like K-On! But again. But it's not trying to be K-On! And I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely its own thing. I heard on good word that the manga was good. This is a 4 by the way. Isn't that fucking
That's
crazy?
crazy.
It is insane that something like this well made and like meticulous is a 4 to me.
I mean,
Yeah.
wasn't K-On!
Was it?
It was, but the thing that's remarkable about K-On! Is that it wasn't a good 4 and the adaptation is like added 3 times the content.
the typical Kiyohani.
Yeah,
Take
the
a
typical
mediocre book or
KyoAni,
whatever
yeah,
and then
like take
adapt
some
it.
shit that sucks and just make it good.
Dude, KyoAni, what they did to Violet Evergarden, the like novel is so cringe.
It's yeah.
I'd believe that.
But wow. I mean,
Yeah, everyone should watch this. Good,
yeah,
good TV.
it's a good show, and you know, it's fun to point and laugh at the girl who sucks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you know what? She'll get there.
She will. Okay. What next?
Oh,
Some-
can I briefly interject with saying that I don't think I had finished it the last time we talked, but it has finished now because it was only like a mini series. But Tatami Time Machine Blues,
Yeah.
it finished and it's great. It
I
was
finished it today because
it's
I knew we were recording this.
it's so good. It's just like a perfect little extra chunk of living in that world. And obviously Shingo Natsume did a fantastic job directing. Uh, you know, I want to get it on Blu-ray. I don't know, man.
It's literally, I don't know if I could ever say this about another anime. I can't remember if this has happened. It's just Tatami DLC.
Yeah.
It's like
It's an
like
expansion
Tatami's
pack.
the main game. Yeah, and this is like the Dead Money or whatever. And it's
it's
just
better than Dead Money.
yeah, I can't remember what the
Yeah.
good quests are called.
Dead Money.
Dead Money was the
sucks
good
so
one.
bad.
Okay,
no,
then-
Dead
No,
Money.
no, wait, which one was Dead Money?
Dead Money's all right. The best one is Honest Hearts.
Yeah,
But
sure,
Honest Hearts
we'll go
is
with-
nice.
We'll use that metaphor instead.
Yeah.
But in that it is identical in structure, pacing, and feeling to the original show. It's got maybe like a little bit more polish occasionally, I
Yeah,
think,
'cause
because
it's like,
which
you
is
know,
6
it's
episodes or whatever.
in 11 years, like, you know.
Yeah. But it feels like you could slot this in maybe the back half of Tatami, the original season, and it would feel exactly the same.
Yeah.
I do think if you were to watch it, like I wouldn't do that for someone who was new to the series. I think I would make them watch it after, just because of the way I think, like the end of episode 5 especially feels kind of like a neat bow to the series in a different way than the original anime ended too, which I thought
Yeah.
was cool. Even though it's kind of a different timeline, I think that's the explanation.
Yeah, I feel like I think it did a great job of still maintaining like that thematic consistency. Like it ultimately still has like the same sort of message, I guess you'd say, or at least a similar one. But yeah, it's just different and it's good. give it a watch.
Yeah, especially if you've seen the original.
Mhm.
I'm just amazed that we've gotten so much additional Tatami content after so long. Like we got Night is Short and then this also.
Yeah.
Uh,
Although
just
technically
what
Night
a
is
great little
Short
franchise.
is not exactly part of the same world. I guess in the anime it's like almost sort of in the same world because it has like similar
Mhm.
characters. But also there's like I guess there's like kind of like a shared universe with a lot of Tomihiko Morini stuff like
Mhm.
with Eccentric Family you hear references to like things which come up in the Tatami Galaxy and stuff like that and it all winds together. But yeah, good stuff. How about Chainsaw Man? You guys want to talk about Chainsaw Man?
Yeah,
It's been
getting
3
into the
episodes and
Chainsaw
we
Man.
haven't got to talk about Chainsaw Man. Wait, tell me about Chainsaw Man.
Oh, I can't believe we did that. Any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Big fucking. And he goes. Fucking cut people up, man. Fucking power taking them to fucking Bam Bill Bam Bam. The fucking bad demon comes out, man.
You just became
Crazy.
Boomhauer. What happened?
I don't know what happened to me. I'm sorry. It won't happen again.
But
God, that show looks fantastic.
It's
I
so
will say
good.
the first episode was like a little bit like because like there was a lot of like not raw CG because I know what they did. They did CG and then they rotoscoped over it, so it looks better
Yeah.
than like raw CG, but still it didn't look like uh as nice as I was hoping it would look for a first episode. But episodes 2 and 3 have looked great. Like
Yeah. It's
it,
just consistent.
I'm actually a defender of the way that they're animating him. I think that the way it's composited looks better than most CGI and anime
no, it
does, and they're
does.
Oh,
blending it with
easily,
the
yeah.
2D. And I know a lot of my problem is that a lot of anime fans are super allergic to CGI, especially if it's mixed
Yeah,
in and not like a dedicated show, and so
because they
they
have
all
like
whined
they
about
have
it.
this like notion that like if something is CG, that inherently means that it's like, oh, this is budget. The budget is low for this show, but it's like it's clearly not true. Like there's so
Yeah.
much love put in so many aspects of this show, and the CG is done with like such respect that it never feels like they were just doing it to cut corners. And even if they are, they're doing it because they're just going all out on like every other part of the show. And
Mhm.
I still think the action with, Denji like transformed in the CG is good. Like
It looks
it's
great.
still solid. Like sure it looks different from the 2D stuff, but like it still looks good.
Yeah,
It's good
like
animation.
guys
It's not,
realizing for the first time that the manga just looks better. Like yeah, it's always going to be that way,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
you know? But yeah,
But
it looks good. And I will say, my favorite aspect of this adaptation so far has been the voice work. I think everyone is perfectly cast.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
agree.
definitely agree.
It's also crazy because a lot of these voice actors are brand new.
Yeah, a lot of them are
I
pretty
think
new.
Denji's is new and Powers is pretty new. She's the
Power sounds great. Like it's
yeah,
like
she's playing
a spot on
what's
voice.
Jolene in
Yeah,
JoJo.
yeah.
It's the same, which I think is such a cool. She's really on the come up. Um but yeah, I I obviously there were so many expectations going into this. I probably the most hyped anime maybe of all
Yeah, for
time,
sure.
It
I would
definitely in a
say.
long time.
Yeah, definitely
And
a while.
I think that might be why there was even just the smallest amount of backlash when it first came out. But for me personally, who is just a huge fan of the manga, it has been perfect. I have no complaints. I am enjoying every single episode more than the
Yeah.
previous one, and I'm just excited to see like because we're about to really get into the good shit that
Mhm.
is about to start in the next couple of episodes. So I'm very excited.
Yeah. I like Makima's voice actor. Going back to the voices, but Makima I
Uh-huh.
think is like obviously her voice actor like really loves the role and like really loves the character and so she's giving it her all and I can definitely feel it. Like there's a ton of effort behind Makima's performance.
Yeah.
You have to get a really nuanced performance out of a role like that,
Mhm.
honestly, and I think she's killing it. Um, I think it's crazy that they're doing a new fucking ED for every single episode, and they're completely new animation each time too.
They're-
Yeah, it's batshit.
They're all
That-
hype.
That Maximum the Hormone one was insane. I fucking
The
love
latest
that
one?
shit. Yeah, the third episode.
It's so good.
Not to mention the OP, which is just like peak.
Yeah,
also.
the OP is nice because it's like a cool song, it's catchy, it's nice and rhythmic and bouncy, and like all the like fun movie references in the OP, all the like just little visual touches, like obviously showing you what the show is about. It's it's a well put together OP and well put together
Yeah.
show.
A big love letter.
Oh yeah. Speaking of
I don't know if that
love,
was... Anyway, go ahead.
speaking of love, Spy Family Part 2 has been
Yeah.
very cute. It's been very
yeah.
cute, very well executed. Can't say a bad thing about it, it's just it feels like a bit of a letdown to like not have anything profound to say, but it's just good. And I'm just having a good time. It's just cute, it's funny. All the characters are so well balanced against each other, because and obviously this dynamic was present in the first part, but with the addition of the dog you get a different dimension to that, because the dog kind of synergizes with Anya's power, because the dog can see into the future, but only Anya can see the dog seeing into the
dog
future.
powers?
Yeah, there's
the dog has powers.
the dog has powers. And I just think it's like the way that the story has these characters set up is so smart, because they all have like varying levels of competence pitted against like the level of information that they're operating at, in conjunction with the amount of influence that they can have over a situation. Because like it feels like in most situations so far, like Lloyd the dad, he's the most competent, but usually he's not running on the most information, despite having the most like ability to impact things. So he kind of has to like try to find information to be able to really be effective, whereas Anya usually has the most information, but she is not very competent, and she doesn't have much of an ability to like kind of act on that. And the mother Yor has in some ways is very competent, but in other ways is very incompetent, because she's like kind of dumb, and that's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Bond. I was so excited. I was really hoping this was going to get in the first season, but it's a great way to start out the second season. He's such
Oh,
a good
yeah.
fucking character, and I love the arc of them getting him for the first time.
Oh yeah, and they put a bow tie on him. Like,
Exactly,
it's
because
so
he's a
good.
secret agent, man. This is going to be, I think, a really good season as we sort of get into this next part of the manga. I'm very much looking forward to. It's such a good fucking show.
Yeah,
It just picked right off from the last season. So
I was going to just read the manga after finishing part 1, but then I saw that there was going to be a part 2, and I'm like, oh, I'll wait.
Yeah, this could wait.
Because like
I still gotta get around to season 1.
yeah, it took me a while to, because like sometimes I'll see an anime that has like a long running manga, and I'll like watch like one season of it, and they'll be like, okay, I'm good to like just read the manga. But sometimes I want to just stick with the anime a little bit more. Like it actually took me all 3 seasons of Kaguya before I read the manga.
oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
This one isn't even the crazy thing about Spy Family is there really aren't that many chapters. I think we're on 70 now. So this season will get decently far and probably not all the way to where we're caught up, but that might be a good thing to catch up after this season. I don't know when the next one we're gonna get is.
True.
But I'm sure they will continue to animate it. It's clearly wildly popular.
It's a hit.
Yeah,
The people love it.
I
We're
love it.
cheering.
Woo! We all want to have children too.
It's great
Yes!
propaganda. Rest in peace, Shinzo Abe. his legacy lives on.
R.I.P. my man. You would have loved Spy Family.
He would have. Or maybe it's embarrassing for him because like he's getting outstaged and all of his efforts were made invalid by this cool anime.
Maybe.
It's possible.
Maybe it was an inside job.
Maybe.
You ever think about it that way?
What does that mean?
You know what that exactly what the fuck it means. Look, can we just talk about what the witch from Mercury?
We can talk about Mobile
we can do
Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. How many episodes have you guys watched?
One came out today that I haven't seen yet.
I think.
Or was that yesterday?
I think I've seen either. Are you counting episode 0 or not?
We're counting episode 0, so that means there's 6 episodes out, and I have seen 6 of them. I'm all caught up.
I think I've seen that, and then the first 3. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe the first 2. I don't know. Something
I just
like
haven't
that.
watched the most recent one.
Yeah.
I'm slightly behind.
Episode what's listed as episode 5 is the only one.
As a Gundam noob, I'm having a good time. It's
I'm also a Gundam virgin. This is my first one.
Yeah,
My
this
first
is
Gundam as well.
This is my first Gundam TV series. I like I said previously, I watched the like Gundam Thunderbolt films, which are very good. But I've never watched a Gundam TV series before, and this one is pretty nice. Obviously, we've mentioned before it's Utena with mobile suits. At least conceptually, it obviously mixes it up down the road, but it introduces that concept of like, duels within the school to like gain the right to be engaged to this like heiress,
Yeah.
It
And
is a fucked up society. In the future.
We do live in a
Crazy-
future space society.
Crazy future shit going on.
Where people are racist towards people born on Earth. Isn't that backwards?
But also they're just racist against people born on like other planets too. But the only one that's ever like explicitly mentioned, look, it's just a whole
Yeah, like you would think we get that far, we would have figured out the racism thing, but they just invented new racism.
Well, I would have expected that, but the thing in which from I don't want to call it Gundam because then which one am I fucking talking about? Anyway, the thing in Witch from Mercury is like it's very strange because there's the subplots of like the Earth guys experiencing racism from the superior spacefaring humans. But then also, like, there's racism against the main character, like, oh, lol, you're from Mercury, you fucking backwater mining planet hick, like...
Yeah.
But it's still, like, it's not as widely stigmatized. It really, like, the show wants to portray itself as, like, oh, there's this space versus Earth dynamic, when it's clearly, like, no, it's, actively attempting to be more nuanced than what it, like, presents at you, but it's, it's nothing like offensive.
I just want to know which part of space is supposed to be the hype part. Like which part of space
who are
is
the cool
like
guys?
is like the master space race. Like what's up with that? Which part? Tell me.
Yeah. Maybe it's just all the bros in space station and just like if you're planet faring, you're just a noob.
Yeah, there's going to be like one guy out of like the 12 views that this video will get who actually knows about Gundam, and he's gonna be raging that we're talking about this without
he's gonna
knowing.
Be like,
I think
obviously
this one's I think a different universe, so he's wrong, even if that's the
weird
case.
Because they still talk about shit like there was like series before that, because they're like, oh, at the like Parisian Revolution or resolutions, they said no more Gundams, they're fucked up, and I was like sitting there like I did not know that. I thought they were all fine with Gundam. I thought that was the whole point of the show.
No, apparently
that
Gundams
shit's
are,
not
are
legal.
fucking crazy. Yeah, they're against the law. And then it was confusing because like there were other robots, but I guess only some of them.
No,
are
those are
Gundam.
mobile suits. You see,
my bad. My bad.
Yeah, because apparently this might be true of other Gundam series. Again, we don't know. But
we just have to sort of guess.
It seems as though within the canon of this series, like the defining feature of a Gundam is that it has this sort of I guess operating system, like this sort of like uh mechanism by which it integrates with the pilot, like in their like nervous system or
Yeah, it
something.
does the Eva thing.
Yeah, and like in all these previous models, it was doing like physical and mental damage to the pilots, to the point where they determined that it was not worth keeping around, and they formally banned it. But just as they were banning it, they finally developed like the one that doesn't like break you. And
Yeah.
that's the one that our protagonist has, that they secretly have like the last, although spoilers, it's not the last Gundam.
Yeah.
And that's where we go from here for our story. But I like it. Like I like it.
Yeah.
It feels kind of like how I was sort of anticipating a Gundam to feel. Maybe a bit lower stakes because they're in school, but like everyone's wearing stupid clothes. It's a lot of
There's
like
guys named like Gwell. What's that
Yeah.
fucking dude's name?
Yeah.
Guel Jeturk.
Gwell Jeturk. Yeah, there's just all sorts of shit happening.
Yeah, everyone's got crazy names. Everyone wears stupid clothes.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about Spacians and Earth
Yeah.
dwellers, and there's every so often there's a mobile suit fight. So
Yeah, and sometimes the show just has to pause to be like, hang on, we gotta make sure you understand that everyone on staff is a huge machine fetish, like has a huge machine fetish.
course.
Like
Oh yeah.
those parts are always very fun because it's I don't know, I just like it when they get self-indulgent on the animation staff.
They look tight.
They do look tight.
I like the design of our protagonist's like mobile suit Ariel.
Yeah.
I like the design of Ariel.
Yeah, it's cool. I like when it does the like
The
like
little
Ruby
drone
Penny,
things,
like laser.
Yeah.
The fucking drone strike ass.
Pew, 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 pew.
Very cool.
I love the character designs in this show.
Yeah, the character
I think they're
designs of the show are also just pretty fun.
I need these girls
I
to
did,
kiss.
I did.
I'll
I
say.
did.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, I really like.
haven't
I was
talked
about to
about that
segue
yet.
that into. You really can't just have a show anymore where you don't like have something in front of you and you have to just like start scratching your head and wonder, am I getting Yuri baited?
Yeah,
Because it keeps doing that.
They keep doing it to us, and I keep falling for it. I'm stepping on rakes every day of my life.
I think this one's gonna do it. I just think that it would be insane for them to frame it like this at the very beginning and then not have it be an
Yeah.
explicit romance. I
But
mean,
there's also
and I've
that
been
little
disappointed
fucking
before.
gay boy who's like, I'm not gonna fall in love, and then every time he just like shows up to just be like, hey, protagonist, fucking, here's what you need to do. Anyway, see ya.
Oh, you're talking about Ilan, the guy with like the kind of
yeah, the little
the
earring
latest
guy.
episode is you'll want to watch that one
Oh,
about
Vine
him.
Boom.
Yeah, Vine Boom.
Oh,
You'll want to watch that. But
that's sad. Anyway,
I mean, it's not in a bad way. It's just an interesting
okay.
development that you'll see with this guy. That I think will give you more thoughts about him. Anyway, that's
I think
Gundam. What are you thinking, Chris?
I was gonna say I like that even though the stakes are lower because it's high school, the stakes are still present and like because she's immediately under threat. Like people are trying to like deal with her because she's creating a problem. Like there are enough stakes, and we still get the classic sort of geopolitics of Gundam, which is especially prevalent in the first episode as well. So that's always in the background, and that long term it's probably going to get pretty intense. So we can look forward to that as well. Yeah, I think this feels, at least to me, like a great introduction to the franchise.
Yeah.
So if you're like us and are just
if you want
complete
baby's first
you want
Gundam,
your Gundam virgin or your Gundam chick.
Yeah.
then this one will show you a good time. It's also got cute girls.
It does have cute girls,
and they might
Oils.
they might even be gay.
they might kiss. The
Anyway, we'll
girls
find
might
out.
kiss. People are wondering.
We'll report
Many
back
people
later
have been wondering.
if we get baited again.
What we're not getting baited by though is Mob Psycho
Michael
100.
Cycle.
Michael
Holy
Cycle
shit.
part trace.
They never miss.
They just can't.
They just keep
They're
hitting.
incapable.
It's just one of the greatest source material. One of the
One is a
greatest studios.
genius. Like,
I love the classics. You know, like what more can you really say?
yeah. What do we think about like the? Are you guys all caught up on this on
Yeah,
Mob Psycho?
I'm caught
Okay.
up.
Oh yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the current plot movement? Because I think it's like it's framing it as like a confrontation between like Mob and Dimple, Ikubo.
Yeah.
Uh,
When it was revealed that it's Dimple is the one like
Yeah,
doing
but I read
all
the
this
manga,
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've read the manga, so you
Yeah,
knew.
I read the manga, so I knew.
I didn't think that I was thinking this was going to be framed as more of the overarching conflict for the whole season, and now it's very much feeling like this is going to be a mid-season resolution,
Which
and
is
then there's
crazy
going to be
because
something else.
the manga ends like pretty much like pretty soon. Like there's not
Yeah.
much more. So I'm excited to see how they make it a 12 episode.
Okay,
hmm.
that's good to know.
Like like the manga has not much after this. I was like very skeptical that they even had a third season in them. Like I thought they would have just done like a movie and called it. But like we'll see.
We
Yeah.
will. It's been
Um,
incredible so far. I think that this plot line is really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's framed almost less like sure it's a confrontation between Dimple and Mob, but I think it's more a confrontation between, like Mob and sort of the greater society as a whole and how he feels the things it may expect of him, Like I really
Yeah.
feel like that's sort of the main conflict, and that's sort of, Dimple brainwashing everyone was just the simplest way to sort of get that conflict front and center.
Yeah.
It was surprisingly tragic to see Reagan get got at the very end of that episode.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
ramps up the stakes.
It makes it really like kind of sells it that like in this situation he is like fully alone. Like
Yeah.
But also
everybody else
it's
got
cool
caught.
because he's now the kind of person who is fine or at least able to function in that sort of environment, whereas before, he may have just shut down.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just interested to see like where it's all gonna go with it, because I almost figured like what if this is like what if this is like not Dimple like doing heel turn, and I guess he was always like still evil, but like what if it is him like I guess not doing a heel turn but like actually trying to like give Mob some kind of like lesson through this.
Yeah, that's possible for sure, I think.
Yeah, which it could be that, or it could just be like they're having to, they're beefing now. Either way, I'm sure it'll be good, and I hope that it looks good because I want to see another cool psychic fight, because that's what you come here for, at least
Bones,
partially.
you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're the most talented in the industry, and it's like
Yeah,
almost
even the
ridiculous.
episodes we've seen so far that where the stakes have been lower have been just like knocking it out of the park with the animation.
Mhm.
It's been fucking incredible.
Dude, the OP is so good.
It
The
is.
OP is Mob Choir just constantly goes nuts, and like they don't really need to, but they just still keep it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. I'm just gonna be sad when it's gone.
Yeah.
It is gonna, but one is releasing a new manga now.
I did
Yeah.
hear about this.
You didn't hear about this?
I did hear
Oh,
that
okay,
he'd started
okay.
a new one. Yeah.
Which hopefully, if it's as good as his previous two,
Yeah.
maybe someday that'll get an adaptation, and we'll get to see. Hopefully, it would be Bones and not, whoever it was that did
Yeah.
One Punch Man season 2. I
It was
can't even
like,
remember.
Yeah, I don't even remember the studio.
Wasn't Madhouse.
No.
It definitely was not Madhouse.
It was Madhouse with our goat Shingo Natsume doing season 1.
Yeah.
Along
and-
with like half the anime industry
Yeah.
tagging in. Oh well.
But yeah, that's the seasonals. At least for
Yeah.
for me.
Get through all of it. Hold on.
Is there anything else that you're watching that we didn't cover?
Pop Team Epic, which has been fucking
Oh,
brilliant
yeah.
so far.
Oh yeah, I guess I watched the first episode of that. I'm still getting back to it.
It's just been fucking great. It's still doing the thing where it's only a half episode, so
Yeah.
it's essentially a short. but the bits they are escalating still episode to episode, which is exciting to see where it's going to go. And obviously, like, they're still doing the mixed media thing. The production values are insane. They had some references that I didn't think they were like allowed to make. And they've had a couple different ones from different franchises too. Like for example, the first one was like they had chocobos from Final Fantasy in the first episode, but so I am excited to see where it's going. I love this franchise. I know some people bounce off of the sense of humor. I've always found it to be very funny.
It's really good, yeah.
It is a shitpost anime, and it works extremely well for what it's trying to do.
I should give it another try. I kind of like forgot to keep watching the first season because I wasn't like totally gripped by it. But every time I see like a clip, I'm like, that's funny. So, you know.
You should stick with season 1 because season 1 has some of the most insane sequences I've ever seen in anime. They're just very creative, and that's kind of the reason I like it so much is because of the way that they kind of push boundaries. You really don't see what they do in like anything else. And so I'm excited that there is more. I'm looking to see if there's anything else that I'm watching that we haven't talked about yet. No. Irma, which is great, but Blue Lock is the other one too.
Oh yeah, that's the big one. That's the one with Fortnite soccer.
Yeah. It's a sports show. I think the concept is still really cool. And I've been having fun with it. I would say it's definitely one of the weaker shows in the insanely stacked season that we're watching here. But I don't usually watch sports anime, and I'm watching this one. So that's cool. I think it is an interesting enough concept with high enough stakes in a way that I think a lot of sports anime probably don't have right off the bat. Because it's basically this like elimination system. So I will continue to watch it. I don't know. I don't have anything major to say about it, but
I do think conceptually Blue Lock is, at least I hope, does it avoid the problem that like a lot of sports anime do where it feels very formulaic, because like a lot of sports anime you watch, it's like they follow the sports season during the school year, and like the the way the season progresses, the finals, the like blah blah qualifiers, all this sort of stuff.
Right.
And it just repeats season after season. I'm assuming that the format of Blue Lock kind of allows them to not have to like follow a typical school athlete schedule.
It's more like a tournament arc in a shonen, I would say.
Okay.
They basically the team that the main character is on, they are like the lowest seeded group in the entire tournament, right? And so they have to play matches and like do these different events essentially, I think, to rank up and get higher up on the totem pole. And I think that's sort of the structure. And so it's also juxtaposed with some like scenes of the outside world and like the company justifying to the public like what they're doing, and the higher ups being like, is this really going to result in the best soccer players so Japan can win the cup? So there's some like elements of intrigue too. And I like the sort of weird is it Monokuma, the Danganronpa character?
Bear dude.
Yeah, Monokuma looking ass guy that is the sort of in charge of the games. He's a crazy character, and he's always funny to watch. He's the guy. He's played by Hiroshi Kamiya, who is who plays like Levi in Attack on Titan and Aragi and Monogatari, and so he's doing a very good job of hamming that role up. But yeah, if you like sports shows, I think this is a cool twist on one. A lot of hot boys, if people are into hot boys. I know that that's important to some people.
Hey, who's not? You know what I'm saying?
Some very pretty boys in this one. And it looks pretty good too. So
awesome.
I'm having an okay time with it. We'll see how it ends up. I think that. Oh, and then Fumetsu season 2. Okay, did
Oh,
either
yeah,
of you
yeah,
watch
yeah.
season 1 of that? Of
I
this?
started watching season 1, and then I just read the manga.
Yes, I think that is the right thing to do for season 1. Because season 1 did not look very good at times. There were some
Okay.
episodes they tried, most of them they didn't. There were some really bad
Is
episodes.
season 2 looking better?
So it's a different studio, right? Did you hear about this? Okay, so Brainspace did season 1, and then a different studio, Studio Drive, which is a brand new studio, picked it up instead. So they are moving over. I think it's a different director too.
Alright.
Studio Drive has not done very much so far, but this is a great litmus test for me because they also have gotten a couple of really big, like high profile shows that are going to be airing next year, which are Konosuba season 3 and the Uzumaki adaptation.
Oh, like the Toonami one?
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh.
this is kind of my test to see if this looks good enough that I can maybe hope that either of those shows will be like solid. And so far I've seen just episode 1. It looked good. It looked better than the first season did on average.
Okay.
So that is a good sign.
'Cause
And I will say the story is still great. Like obviously that was the best part about season 1.
Yeah, like that's why I wanted to keep reading the manga, To Your Eternity being the English name for it.
Mhm.
It's a great story. It's really cool. It's the way it progresses is really fun and I guess unique feeling.
Yeah.
The shape of the world is really mysterious and interesting. Um, there's just like a lot to go into, a lot going on, which I enjoy.
Yeah. It does a really good job with its characterization and its writing. And it's obviously very tragic and sad, but that's just kind of the nature of what the show is about. So I'm very excited to be introduced to lots of characters and knowing that most of them are probably going to die in a really fucked up and sad way, and then still being surprised when that does happen over and over again. But I guess I don't really know because it could really go anywhere. I am not caught up with the manga at all. So
Yeah.
um, I'll be interested to see how this one goes.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, like I said, I think that's actually it
All
for
right.
this ridiculous season.
It only took us an
Yeah.
hour to cover the seasonals. How about that?
Well, I mean, I think that's really all we can. I mean, the season's been all like any of us been watching. I could only assume. Like,
Well, not true.
Yeah.
I have been getting recommended on YouTube full episodes of the Boondocks,
Oh shit.
which I've just
Now
been
that's
randomly
anime.
clicking on every so often,
Yeah.
I actually had a thought, like there's an alternate universe where like American adult animation is more like the Boondocks instead of being all like Family Guy. And
God.
that is the world that I desperately wish we lived in.
Yeah. That
Because
would be nice.
that show is so good. It's so funny. But,
yeah,
It ends up being just this unique outlier and not the formula for how everyone should do it, which is tragic. I
that
can
is
blame Seth
tragic.
MacFarlane for this directly, I think.
Oh yeah. And we will find him.
Yeah.
we'll
If
get him on
only
that
he was
plane.
more of a weeb, then maybe the world would be better.
Mm-hmm. But Chris, what are you up to besides watching seasonal anime? Or relating to watching seasonal anime, actually.
I mean, like I said, this has been all I've had time for is watching all the new stuff.
Okay, actually, I guess it's not fair. I am watching something else. I'm like halfway through Licorice.
Oh,
Yeah, how are you liking
picked
that?
it up. How about
Yeah,
that?
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like anime girl John Wick.
It is anime girl John Wick, and it's pretty tight.
Majima is like really starting to get introduced. I think that character is funny.
He is. I like him.
I kind of think it's funny that like he's introduced and he's just getting the work. Like
Yeah.
he cannot catch a W and he's the antagonist. And you're just like, well, this is fucked up. Like give him one. He does get that scene in like the most recent episode I watched where he just beats the shit out of main girl. What's her fucking name?
Yeah. Chisato.
Chisato, yeah.
Yeah,
But,
I think the way they introduce him is really funny because like usually like in a typical action series they introduce the villain by having him be like really intimidating, But they introduce Majima in that show, like
They get him getting washed. He gets
he gets
rinsed,
fucked.
Like
he
It's
gets
really funny.
jobbed for like, you know, the first half of the show. Like,
yeah, he's getting fucked up.
He does.
Yeah.
I don't know if Wade's here. Has he killed like a bunch of people yet?
No.
Or I can't remember if that was a flashback to the past. Anyway, he does elevate in his I would say villain level of seriousness pretty quickly as the show goes on.
mhm.
That's pretty cool.
He also continues taking L's, so who's to say?
It balances out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will report back when I'm finished. Probably next time we're here.
Yeah,
Woohoo.
sounds good.
Other than that, I think
Yeah.
we might be seasonal bots.
We are. I like when you're watching like 20 shows. That's just how it is.
Yeah, it's just
Oh my,
it's enough.
It's embarrassing. Like I have to look someone in the eyes and tell them that I'm watching like 10 shows. Like,
I guess what was the last thing I said about Jujutsu Kaisen? Because I feel like it keeps being ridiculous on me, and I keep wanting to mention it. Yams, what was the last thing I reported to you on the pod? Do you
I
remember?
honestly don't recall when the what you said about Jujutsu
'Cause I don't-
Kaisen the last time.
I don't want to rehash.
Okay. You can just give like an overview of like your vibes on it currently.
Yeah, I guess. I just think that a lot of like the concepts it's introducing have just been funny. And I always every time I'm talking about Jujutsu Kaisen on the pod, it's just like, yeah, realistically it's like, not really that good, but it's like shonen, and it's shonen with fun ideas, and it doesn't stop having fun ideas. And that's the important part of shonen, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's
but
where
it's
like
it's
shonen
doing
fail,
some-
right? Is when they stop.
Yeah.
Is when they run out of fun ideas. Like that's where you get like season after season of Bleach that's just the same thing over and
Yeah.
over again. Like, you gotta keep it fresh, and it sounds like they're keeping it fresh.
Yeah, a lot of it is like stupid fun too. Like,
Yeah.
and it's sort of kind of aware of how stupid it is. There's a new plot with the Americans are causing trouble.
Oh, you did. Oh, I know about this because you sent me the screenshots.
Yeah, the Americans are like about to cause trouble. Because surprise, surprise, they are interested in like the power system of Jujutsu Kaisen and possibly harnessing it as an energy source.
Yo, it's
You gotta
like
watch out.
oil.
Yo,
They
it's
do-
like
It is.
But in the most recent chapter, and I know this won't be a rehash, something that I've sort of felt was kind of weak about Jujutsu Kaisen was that its villain, like its main villain that it like really like finally like introduces, is not weak, but also kind of whatever. Like I felt like the villain could have been stronger, than it decided to compromise itself because it sort of wrote some shit in that then they had, if it was going to come back in any sort of way, they had to do some change up. But we're finally like getting more into the personality of the villain and what their motivations are. And they're kind of like the Joker, and that's kind of funny.
It is funny.
Because
baby.
they sort of like revealed their motivation in the most recent chapter was that they're like dead set on like doing something fucked up. Like they're basically like, what if I did this really fucked up thing? Like what would happen? What would that look like? Like his idea is sort of just like, very anime, like what if we did human instrumentality and every guy was just one guy?
Right.
And he's like, well, what if we merged all the cursed energy in the world into one person? And what if it just turned out to be like a guy with a really fucked up, like funny looking clown face? Like, wouldn't that be funny? Like,
Right.
I'd laugh. What would
That'd be
you
pretty
do?
What if we
And I'm
took
like-
what if we took all the TNT on the Minecraft server and put it in one guy's house?
Yeah, and put it in like what if we put it all in one guy's house and then blew it up? Like, what would your reaction to that be? Because I know I'd laugh. So he's sort of just like, yeah, what if we did some Joker shit? How would you feel about that? Which I think is like a little fun, it's I'm the Joker, baby, but I don't know. I feel like I have a soft spot for that kind of character.
Yeah, it's whimsical.
Yeah, it's a little whimsical. Yeah, I'm excited to see how that manga goes because there's still so many things going on that you sort of can't imagine a way for it to cleanly end, and it's probably going to be at least more than a little stilted by the end of things. But I'm enjoying a lot of stuff about it. That's all I really wanted to say.
Yeah, that's great. Any other manga you're reading, Chris, you want to give an update on?
The latest chapter of Chainsaw Man was fucking crazy. I don't know if y'all are caught up
Oh,
on that.
yeah, of course.
Let me make sure I'm
It
caught up on it. I'm pretty
it
sure I am.
remains goated. Not much to say about that. Just that the fact that we're getting the anime and the manga at the same time is really
Yeah.
just too good.
Bro, we're eating. Like,
We are eating.
it's
Yeah.
it's hype.
My other thing with manga is that Kaguya finished, which is crazy to me. I have been reading it for a long time. I am not caught up. I've been a little bit behind for a while. Not crazy. I think like maybe 20, 25 chapters behind.
Right.
And I think I'm going to take this opportunity to go back a little bit and recatch up on some of the plot lines right before this final arc and then finish it out strong.
Right.
Are either of y'all deep into the Kaguya?
I'm deep in. I'm very near to the end just because, like I said, after I watched season 3, I'm like, okay, I'm reading the manga. And I read the manga, and I've read like the last chapter, like I've been reading it on Manga Dex, shout outs. And the last chapter on Manga Dex was uploaded like a month ago, so I'm about that far behind.
Yeah, you're
where it
probably
is.
ahead of me then.
But yeah, it's just really good. Like, shockingly good.
Is Wade Kaguya pilled?
Nah, I'm not. I'm a Kaguya hater.
You're a
Real one.
hater?
Not a
That's
hater. I
crazy.
just sort of have
Boo.
watched. I don't hate it. I've just watched it, and I've never felt anything.
You should read it.
Okay, I think that might be
I
more
think that
palatable.
it is one of the best manga adaptations ever made. I think it really properly hits its stride in season 2.
I agree.
Yeah.
How much did you watch of it?
Like the first 3 episodes. Like everything.
Yeah, you should read it.
I really feel nothing.
I think you should either read it because that's faster, or just suck it up, be a man, watch the first season, and by the time you're halfway through the second season, you'll like it.
I would say even early on. I think season 2 is pretty much immediately much better. I think they put a little bit more effort into the production and like really started kind of feeling out how they were going to make the adaptation special in their own way, and how they adapt all of the bits and the jokes. And it is like, it's such a great production with so much love and care put into it. And also like the manga gets more serious in that point, and I think like sometimes it's obviously primarily a gag joke manga the whole time, but I think Kaguya does its serious moments probably better than any other comedy manga I've ever read.
It's a rom-com, which you can act like, even if you don't see like major milestones hit, you can like feel the needle moving just like forward
There's
constantly,
progression.
and it just feels so much more rewarding than some crap like My Dress Up Darling or whatever, like it just feels nice.
Yeah, I've had this opinion for a little bit. It's probably my favorite manga of all time. And I will see how I feel about how it ends up cementing at the very end, but it's only what?
Damn, better than part 7?
I haven't read any JoJo's. So
all right, you might have to hold off until you read part 7. A bro turns into dinosaurs. I'll just tell you that much.
Bro turns into dinosaurs.
I'll have to keep that in mind. Yeah,
there's like a train.
One day I'll get into JoJo.
There's filthy acts done at a reasonable price.
Yeah, there's filthy acts done at a reasonable price.
I've heard about these acts before. But yeah, it's I think that getting to like kind of watch this, because I started reading it in I'm trying to think of when I started it, in like 2016, so pretty early, because I think it came out in 2015 originally. So I just have been like, it was one of those manga that like I'd heard, I was like, yeah, you gotta check this shit out. This shit is fire. It's like, what if Death Note was a rom-com or something, like the way that people talk about it. And then I picked it up, and like it was that heat. And it's only gotten better, and I can, so many manga fall off or like flounder in the like late section, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like
the manga runs out of ideas,
where to go, and then you know.
And it is Aka Akasaka's ability to come up with new bits is like incredible, like groundbreaking, and then intermix them in with this brilliant like character development over this full period of time, and have some drama in it as well at the same time. It's one of my favorite cast of characters ever, I think. And so even though the manga is over now officially, I fully expect the anime to be for them to do the whole thing, as long as that takes. So at least I have that. Like, there's the movie coming out.
Okay,
At
you
the end of the
weren't
year.
trolling. His name is Aka Akasaka.
Aka Akasaka is the artist name. Yeah.
That's I can't believe I missed that this whole time. That's such a funny name.
It is. But yeah, end of an era.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's
I'll be
good that
finishing
it's
that
like finishing good. Like I'm very happy for that.
Yeah. I don't know if I have any other manga news.
You have news
my-
about yourself.
Yeah, I'll take this opportunity to promo. Hey, if you liked listening to the part of this episode where we talked about seasonal anime, which was most of it, and you want to hear me say basically the same things, and then my friends that you don't know say maybe some different things too, I started my own podcast that is different from MALadjusted. And I'll be honest, y'all's name is so much better than anything we could ever come up with. I was so mad that y'all took this name. It's too good. I'm
say.
like, y'all beat us to the punch. But yeah, we're doing a podcast about seasonal anime. We have a preview episode up right now that just goes through. It was meant to be, I guess, consumed before the season came out. But it's just going through the chart, talking about all the new shows, and then we should be recording another one in a couple of days. That should be like is a mid-season check-in to see what we're all actually watching and how we feel about it. And I think much like this episode, we clearly got a lot to talk about because there's a lot of good shows. And then I believe the name we've settled on, this is all very tentative, but is the Nut Bar Podcast, because that is the name of our group. So check it out if you like listening to anime content.
Link will be in the description. Isn't that right, Wade?
Thank you.
Yep, I'll put it in there.
Woohoo.
Thank you so much.
Woo!
And that's it. I'm done self-promoting. I will never bring it up again.
All right. Another
That's a wrap.
thing I do
Oh.
want to mention,
Oh,
just
never mind.
just before we leave, just like a short callback to last season. Hey, you guys remember Summertime Rendering? What
Oh,
if
yeah.
that was a video game?
Yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah, they're making
They're
a game.
making
Vidya.
Yeah,
Is it coming out here in the United States?
Yeah, everything does now.
That's true.
probably. I saw Western news media outlets reporting on it, so it's probably coming out. Yeah, apparently it's gonna have like new characters and like different routes, and so it'll be a cool, like, I guess if you were a fan of the anime, which we were, it'll probably be cool to like examine like sort of what ifs in that world and in that story and see what they can add to it. It might be cool. It might suck, but it might be cool.
Yeah, a lot of game based on anime are real bad. No, not saying that this will be one way or the other, but there's like, have y'all seen footage of that Made in Abyss game that came out last year?
No.
Yeah,
That
a
looks
little
like
bit.
Ocarina of Time level graphics in some of the
Uh-oh.
sections. Yeah.
Whoa.
So I'm just saying that I don't know. I'll wait and see what people say.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
But
right.
it is cool. I think of all the shows to get a game adaptation, this one clearly it feels very. I think I made that comment when we were watching it. It feels very video gamey.
Yeah,
and it's like setup and execution.
I was
so-
kind of surprised it was a light it was a
Yeah.
light novel manga
There's a manga.
adaptation and not a VN adaptation.
Yeah, it feels like a Steins Gate type thing.
Yeah, which like we made the comparison constantly, and I'm sure people are sick of like that comparison. But like, what are you gonna do? Like
Yeah.
that's what you got. Give me Boss Baby vibes. Anyway, that's all. Good chatting with you. Good covering it this week. Thank you and goodbye, everybody.
See you
Hey.
later.
Peace.